motion, me love how she motion. Girl, your skin mode like your beard in a tub full of jerk and lotion. Get a wind out for cause an explosion. Tell your bumper so start a commotion. You know you're in a me back Hulk Hogan. Come get your groove on the island.
Hello. Good afternoon. It's about 1:30 here on the West Coast. Coming to you live from Los Angeles. My name's Richard, and this is Sports Wrap. Wow, a lot of things went on last week. Well, of course, the big thing was the Super Bowl. And what were your thoughts on the Super Bowl? It was pretty boring in the first half. And then even through some of the second half, I said to myself, is this going to be the first Super Bowl where there were no touchdowns scored? That's what I thought. But it turned out to be a pretty good second half. I'm kind of glad the Seahawks redeemed themselves from that fiasco against New England. The Russell Wilson interception on the 2-yard line or whatever. So I'm glad that they won that. And Darnold was the first Trojan, USC quarterback, to win a Super Bowl. Or I think, wasn't Plunkett? I'm not sure. Anyway, I heard something to the effect of that. But it was a good game. And I guess what really outshadowed the game, because it really wasn't an offensive game, it was more of a defensive game, was the Bad Bunny halftime. And I don't own any of his music. I haven't bought any of his music. I kind of like the old school hip hop, Nas and Wu Tang and Dre and Snoop and those guys. But as I glanced back and forth, I didn't actually sit down and really watch his performance, but I was, popping in, looking here and there. And I'm sure he made, and from what I hear, who makes a good analogy of his performance is Anna Navarro. No matter how you feel about people, listen to other people's without, taking it. Here's something that many of us do, and it's getting really bad. We don't know these people personally, and don't, especially someone that's famous. You have to get to know people yourself to then make a judgment on whether that's a good or bad person. Anyway, Anna Navarro is part of the View, and I don't watch that either. I don't watch it, but I just happened to see her short on YouTube as I was scrolling looking for something else, and I said, let me see what she says about it, because I didn't really sit down and watch it. So if you really want to get a better insight of what it was, but from what I ascertained, beside the symbolism that everyone is talking about, is that he was showing off Latino culture, man. I mean, it was, man, if you've never lived, I live in LA. I've lived in LA, and I've worked in the LA school district. I worked in a charter, but it was in the city of Watts. Okay. When Watts was first built, when that school I worked at was first built, it was behind the 1965 riots. And I've seen pictures of the cheerleaders back then. This one particular picture that struck me. It was, our schools promote, have the kids take pictures of these cheerleaders outside in front of the school. They were all white. And if you live in LA, you'll understand. Or if you've lived here any time, everybody's got a house here that's got money. These millionaires and billionaires. There's more billionaires in this state than any other state. Okay, I wonder why, if it's so bad. But anyway, so listen to her, because she gives a good analogy. But from what I saw, he was showing off Latino culture, man, and did a good job of it. Man, that was an energetic performance, man. And like I say, I've lived here, worked in these school districts. When I worked in the LA in Watts, it wasn't like 1965 Watts. No. That Watts is gone. It's the blacks are the minority in Watts now. They're still there. and it's probably almost like 60-40, maybe, from what I see. And I worked there. I traveled in and out of there every day for 15, 20 years. Uh, but, you know, I can't say when I was struggling, Latinos helped me. Okay. One of my coworkers that I used to work with helped me tremendously when I was struggling. So, you judge people for who they are, not what uh, gender or race they are. That has nothing to do with a person's mind or heart. But anyway, it was a good second half of the game, and that was what intrigued me. And I'm like I said, I was glad Seattle won. Now let's get to some basketball because my Knicks are doing pretty well. They beat Boston the other day. They blew them out. Good road win for the Knicks. But here's what I noticed that when they got beat up by Detroit the game before that, Detroit had got beat up themselves the game before they played the Knicks against the Washington Wizards, who are one of the bottom uh, lower third team in the league. They got one of the worst records in the league, and they beat Detroit the day before the Knicks played them. And you saw how Detroit came out with purpose and just blew the Knicks out. Same thing. That next game for the Knicks, what did they do? They blew Boston out. So these guys are pros, man. And anyone that gets upset about the way they're playing or the different game that's going on right now, it's the ratings don't say that. Look at the ratings. Why do you think Paramount, the Google, Amazon, Apple are vying for all of these sports, not just the NBA? Pretty soon, like I said before, I think I put out a whole video piece on this about how the sports it's gonna be exclusive. You're gonna have to have one of these streaming devices to get the sports. I don't want to have to do that. The cable bills are already through the roof. I'm streaming now on something that's less than $100 a month. Who else is streaming? Who's got cable and full cable with all the capabilities? And especially if you're a premium channel person, I'm not that person. I don't have any HBO, I don't have Max, I don't have none of that. None of those channels that you have to pay for. I don't do that. I'm a sports and regular TV guy. Basically right now it's just sports. I mean, I used to watch the murder shows, I call them, Snapped, Dateline, and all that stuff. But not anymore. It's they got to be all the same. Just killing is very popular in this country. And they'll document it and put it on television because they know we like to hear about killing. But anyway, so that was good for my team, the Knicks. College ball. Oh man, I saw some good women's games last week. Vanderbilt has a star. The what conference is this? Is this the S? Yes, the SEC has three over the top stars. They got in the women's college game. They got uh, the girl in Texas, Booker. Booker is a prototype KD type player. And then in Vanderbilt, you got the defensive specialist, but now she's a scoring specialist. The guard that played on the U.S. team. Oh my God, why does her name slip me right now? Anyway, she's the second, maybe, player of the year. And then the third one is the guard for South Carolina, for Dawn Staley's team, Johnson. So it's Blake's is the Vanderbilt guard. I mean, Blake's is a dynamic player, and I'm sure out of those three, Booker and Texas, Blake's and Vanderbilt, and South Carolina's Johnson, I'm sure Hidalgo is in that mix too, because she's having a phenomenal year. kind of carrying that Notre Dame team. I mean, I don't think they're top 25. They were in the beginning, but they quickly fell out of it because they depend too much on her. And if she doesn't have a good defensive game, they don't win. That's how good her defense is. So, but she should be in the for Player of the Year as well as Defensive Player of the Year with the Kennedy Cambridge, who's oh my God, that team. Wow, that's a good team there. Ohio State, watch out. And Texas has gotten better too. They've gotten some portal players and a freshman that are some big physical skilled players that Texas has. So watch out for them too. So that's about it with the sports wrap. Let's see what happens this week. I will be back. And plus, I got some good stuff with everything and anything coming up. So I will see you then.